Alright, we're gonna make video for letter A. Okay, ma'am, sir, I'm going to start my pre-inspection from top to the bottom. So I'm going to start with my 5 clearance lights. They are properly mounted and secured, and they're cracked, bent, or broken. All my screws are present and tight, and they have the proper color amber, so they're good. Next, my windshield seal or weather seal. It is properly mounted and secure. There's no cuts, bubbles, or abrasions, so it is good. Next, check my windshield. It is properly mounted and secure. No crack, no broken, no chips, no illegal stickers, and it is clean. Next, check my door mirrors. They're properly mounted and secure. They're not cracked, bent, or broken, and all our nuts and bolts are present and tight. Next check is my hood and grill. They're properly mounted and secure. A crack, bent, or broken, and there's no trash or debris in my grill. It is clean. Next check, my signal lights, also emergency lights and reflectors. They are properly mounted and secure. They're not cracked, bent, or broken. All my screws present and tight, and they have the proper color amber, so they're good. Next check, my headlights, also low beam and high beam. They're properly mounted and secure, not cracked, they're not broken, they're not foggy, and they're clean. And all my screws present and tight. Next check, my front bumper. It is properly mounted and secure, not cracked, bent, or broken. All my nuts and bolts are present and tight, so it is in good conditions. Next check is my license plate. It is properly mounted and secure, not cracked, bent, or broken. It is clean, it is readable. All my nuts and bolts present and tight. Also, it is up to date according with my registration sticker. Now I'm gonna check for leaks under my truck. There's no motor oil leaks, no transmission oil leaks, no coolant leaks. There's no leaks at all. And also my truck is not leaning left or right. So now I'm going to move to the engine. Alright, next check my washer fluid container. It is properly mounted and secure. It's not cracked, bent, or broken. Nuts and bolts are present and tight. The cap is present and tight. It is filled to the proper level and it's not leaking. So this is the windshield washer fluid, so it's good. Next check my air filter and line. They're properly mounted and secure. They're not cracked, bent, or broken, and all our nuts and bolts are present and tight, so they're good. Next check my exhaust pipe and turbo. They're properly mounted and secure. They're not cracked, bent, or broken. Clamp is present and tight, and all the nuts and bolts present and tight, and there's no leaks. They're good. Next check my belt driven alternator. It is properly mounted and secure, not cracked, bent, or broken. All my nuts and bolts are present and tight, so it's good. And the cables, they're well connected. They're not cracked, not broken, no wire showing, so they're good. And the belt, it is properly mounted and secure. There's no cuts, no bubbles, no abrasions. It's not twisted. And also, I have to make sure there is no more than 3/4 of an inch of free play, so it's good. Next check my coolant container. It is properly mounted and secure, not cracked, bent, or broken. All my nuts and bolts are present and tight. The cap is present and tight. There's no leaks, and also I have to make sure it is filled to proper level or in between maximum and minimum. Next check the coolant hose and all the hoses. All of them are properly mounted and secure. No cuts, no bubbles, no abrasions. They're not leaking, and all my clamps are present and tight. They're good. And this particular hose, leads me all the way to my belt-driven water pump, and it is properly mounted and secured, not cracked, bent, or broken, and all the nuts and bolts are present and tight, and it's not leaking. Okay, ma'am, sir, let's move now to the other side. Alright, next check. My radiator and all my radiator hoses. They are properly mounted and secure. Radiator is not cracked, bent, or broken. Hoses, they don't have cuts, bubbles, or abrasions. All the clamps are present and tight, and there's no leaks. Next check. My radiator fan. It is properly mounted and secure, not cracked, bent, or broken. Nuts and bolts are present and tight. So all the blades are present, so it is good. And it is belt driven, and the belt, it is in good conditions. There's no cuts, bubbles, or abrasions, and it's tight. There's no more than 3/4 of an inch of play. Next check. My gear driven air compressor. It is properly mounted and secure, not cracked, bent, or broken. All the nuts and bolts are present and tight. All the lines are well connected. They're tight, and there's no leaks. Next check. My motor oil dipstick and transmission oil dipstick. They are properly mounted and secure, not cracked, bent, or broken, so they're in good conditions. And if I want to check the motor oil, I gotta take the stick out, clean it, reinsert it, take it out again, and I have to make sure it is filled to proper level. And to check transmission oil, it is the same way, but with the engine running. Alright, now I'm gonna move to my power steering system. This here is my power steering oil container. It is properly mounted and secure, not cracked, bent, or broken. Nuts and bolts are present and tight. Cap is present and tight. And if I need to check oil, I use the dipstick, and I gotta make sure it is filled to the proper level, and it's not leaking, so it's good. The next check is my power steering oil hoses. They're properly mounted and secure, well connected. There's no cuts, bubbles, or abrasions. Clamps are present and tight, and they're not leaking. They're good. And this particular hose leads me all the way to my gear-driven power steering pump, which is this. And it is properly mounted and secure, not cracked, bent, or broken. Nuts and bolts present and tight, and there's no leaks. Next check. My steering column and my U-joint. They're properly mounted and secure. They're not cracked, bent, or broken. And there's no more than 1 inch of play in my steering column. And my U-joints are well lubricated, and they're in good conditions. Next check. My power steering gear box. It is properly mounted and secured to the frame. It's not cracked, bent, or broken. All our nuts and bolts are present and tight, and it's not leaking, so it's good. Next check. My 5 pieces steering linkage. This here is my pitman arm, drag link, upper and lower control arms, and tie rod. All of them are properly mounted and secured. They're not cracked, bent, or broken. And all my castle nuts and quarter pins are present and tight. So steering system is good. Now I'm gonna move to my suspension system. I'm going to start with my leaf spring mount in the front and hanger in the back. And they are properly mounted and secured to the frame. They're not cracked, bent, or broken. And all my nuts and bolts are present and tight. They're good. Next check. All my leaf springs, all of them, they are properly mounted and secured. They're not cracked, bent, or broken. All of them are straight. No one is missing. So all of them are in good conditions. Next check. My 2 U-bolts. They are properly mounted and secure. They're not cracked, bent, or broken. They are holding good my leaf springs to the frame, to the axle. And my U-bolt nuts are present and tight. Okay, next check. My shock absorber and shock absorber mounts, top and bottom. They are properly mounted and secured, not cracked, bent, or broken. Nuts and bolts present and tight, and shock absorber is not leaking. Next, the frame, it is properly mounted and secured. It's not cracked, bent, or broken, and there's no illegal welds, so it is good. Right now I'm gonna move to my brake system. I'm going to start with my air hose, air line. It is properly mounted and secure in both ends. Fittings the fittings are well tight, so and there's no cuts, bubbles, or abrasions, and it's not leaking. Next, check my brake chamber and clamp. They're properly mounted and secure, not cracked, bent, or broken. Nuts and bolts are present and tight, and brake chamber is not leaking. It's good. Next check is my push rod and slack adjuster. They are properly mounted and secured, not cracked, bent, or broken. All my pins and quarter pins are present and they're in good conditions. And also, I have to make sure there's no more than 1 inch of play when the brakes are released if I pull it by hand. Next check, my brake drum. It is properly mounted and secured, it's not cracked, bent, or broken, and there's no illegal welds, so it's good. Next check, my brake shoes. They are properly mounted and secured, they're not cracked, bent, or broken. And also I have to make sure there's no less than 1/4 of an inch of thickness or brake material. And there's no oil, no grease, no debris, so brake system is good. Next check, my inside part of the rim. It is properly mounted and secured, not cracked, bent, or broken. And there's no illegal welds, so it's good. Now I'm going to check my front tire. It is properly mounted and secured to the rim, and there's no cuts, no bubbles, no abrasions, no nails, no screws. Tire is good. My front tire must be original, never recapped, and the tread depth, I gotta make sure there's no less than 432 seconds, and it is good. And also I have to make sure tire, it is properly inflated according to manufacturer specifications. It looks good, and I can check that with my valve stem right here, and it is properly mounted and secured, not cracked, bent, or broken, and it's not leaking. Next check, the outside part of the rim. It is properly mounted and secured, not cracked, bent, or broken, and there's no illegal welds. Next check is my 10 bolts and my 10 lug nuts. All of them are properly mounted and secured, not cracked, bent, or broken, and there's no rust indicating looseness. All of them are present and tight. They're good. Next check, my oil half seal. It is properly mounted and secured, not cracked, bent, or broken. Nuts and bolts present and tight, and there's no leaks. I have oil inside to lubricate my axle, and I have to make sure it is filled to proper level. This is the end of the letter A. Now you have to tell the tester next, coupling system.